Alright, so you guys had a lot of questions about MRFs, and actually I was telling Kamehameha, and so everybody's been filling out MRFs. Anybody have any general questions real quick before we actually open up MRFs? Maybe there's something specific we can hit on. Yeah?
What's the point of point system?
What is the point of point systems?
And how does it work?
Okay.
And how is it calculated?
Okay. Jensen, point systems, how does it work and calculated?
Oh, it's magic. When you put numbers in somewhere else, it adds up, and then you get a point. But the reason for the points is like the AAR is the annual achievement report. So at the end of the year, based on your MRFs, it'll add it all up, and then there's a certain score like how well you did as a school or as a club, or not how well you did, like the things that you're supposed to, or yeah, like for example, we have like the advisors at the meetings, you'll get points for that. So like that's for example, and then other things will add up and make your score higher.
Anybody want to add to that? Pretty hit on the dot there. Alright, so your MRF looks something like this. Anybody not filling out MRFs? Not to pick on you, but just so I know that that's where, okay. Anybody else not? Okay. Okay. So most of us fill out MRFs, which is good. Our MRF is really, it's probably, it's a point system. It really is. But more importantly, it's a communication system. Our MRF actually gets sent to a lot of different people. It first gets sent to our people, our division people. So Masuhara, Kelly Soros, who's our LTG. I think we even put Colin on there, our assistant LTG. And then your president, your secretary, your faculty advisor, your Kiwanis advisors, all pretty much see this MRF. Right? Now, I understand maybe that's not where you're at, that's fine. But that's pretty much what should be happening. And it's so that all of these key people for your club can kind of get on board to knowing where you're at. It's a good communication. It looks super confusing, totally agree with you. It took me about 5 years to actually realize how important this MRF actually is. Okay? And even to this day, I have my secretaries take care of it. It's not even me. My secretary pretty much fills it out. And then the president checks the secretary's work so that I don't even have to look at the work part of it. And they kind of take care of it. But if you do have questions, secretaries, how many secretaries are in here? Puro, Castro, yeah. Okay, good. We got a lot of secretaries in here. All right, presidents, that means you guys have been working with your secretaries. Your secretaries are the ones who are pretty much MRF gurus. That's really, I think in our constitution for Kaiser, it says pretty much secretary will take care of MRF. That's pretty much all that it says. And that is the main communication tool for pretty much everything to everybody else. Now we send it to all of these people, Masuhara, Kelly Soros, because they actually compile on their side what's on these MRFs. And then that gets sent out to the district level. And then that district compiles and they send it out to international level. So it's just a good communication tool to how everybody gets communicated with. There's a lot of things on here. For the most part, you have, I'll actually let Lonnie talk about this because I'm going to probably just end up reading most of it. So, Lonnie, for the most part, what do we have on this? Yeah, well, sure.
Okay, so the first thing I usually do is I just update the general meeting part. So like I have to keep track of how many members came to each meeting, and you just fill it in. So like the weeks are based on like the calendar. When you look at the calendar, like the first week would be the first week of the month, and then you just go by it, and then so just fill this part out, and then I check to see if we did anything that like filled these requirements. So like if there was LTG communication, so that's basically if Kelly emails you or something, then you just put like electronic or however else you get stuff for it. And then you just go down here, like if we had a division council meeting, then you just say yes, and you put the number of presidents, so it's like the same thing for everything else. And then you go, you can fill this out also. We usually don't have newsletters, so I kind of disregard this part. But if you guys do, then you can just fill that out. And then you go to the the meeting, the project, which is like the most important thing, kind of. So I just fill in everything, and then this part you have to like fill it in based on the service activity you're doing. So like for Sandy Beach cleanup, we did it. So like first over here you put the total member hours. So that's the number of hours the event was times the number of members that came to the event. So we did it for hours, and we had 30 total members. So 30 times 1, 30. So that's the total number of member hours. And then you have to look through these categories to see which ones apply. So this was a service project, and like almost all your projects are gonna benefit your club in some way. Like even if you don't get like money from it, even if you don't get direct benefits, your members can like learn stuff, so it does benefit your club in some way. So just make sure you check that off all the time. And then this is an ongoing project because we do this like every month almost. So we work with the Sierra Club all the time, so it's an ongoing project for us. And if it's a division project, like the Salvation Army care packages, where we do it all together as a division, then you check it off for division. And district project is if we do it as a district. And governor project,
We don't do too many governor projects actually, because the governor has to send it down one, which we don't hear too much from the governor. It's governor of the CNH. So yeah, it's just someone on the mainland. But there's some projects that sometimes they send down that we can do in Hawaii while they're doing in California and Nevada. But for the most part, there's not too many that we do governor projects. Yeah.
Okay. And then this is a project with another organization. So we checked this off for Sandy Beach cleanup because we didn't do it all by ourselves. We did it with the Sierra Club, which is a like environmental association. So I checked that one off. And if it's major emphasis, which is children, which is 5 under. So if you do a project with kids under 5 under, then you can check that box. Project with Kiwani sponsor is if you do a project with your Kiwanis club, right? I believe. And then joint project hosted with the Kiwanis. If you do a project that's like with the Kiwanis, like you post it together. And then project with Kiwanis family, that
It's like the Circle K, or if you do K Kids, but the different age groups also.
and foundation project.
What was foundation projects? Anybody remember?
I think those are
Foundation
usually
projects?
like fundraising based kind of
Fundraising
like,
based.
Fundraising base. Okay, there we go.
You know, like for like PT fundraising for PTP,
Oh,
donate,
Eliminate and stuff like
Eliminate
that.
project.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Sure, Church of Miracle next.
Okay, and so if you did raise money for service, then you can fill it in this box. And if you raise money for your club, you fill it in here. And if you spend any money on your projects, you can like put it in there. And then you go down to the snapshot, which is basically like an overall view of the month, like things that were like good or things that you wanted to share. So like I kind of just wrote something about one project. I kind of focused in on something that I thought was extra important. And then you go down here, and it's basically like a description of all your events. So here you can write what your project was about. So usually you want to focus on the who, what, where, and when. So just answer these questions in there, give a brief description. And so the chairperson, you usually have a chairperson, like for us, like each member is in charge of a different type of event. So
Each officer.
each officer is in charge of a different type of event. So like, for example, like Ray, this is Ray, and she is in charge of community service. So since Sandy Beach Cleanup was community service, we put her as a chair. So just fill her in there, and then the hours and the funds all come like automatically, so you don't have to worry about that. It transfers from here, so like just put it in correctly and it's all good. And then so yeah, we just do all this, and then I just check over it one last time, and then I send it to everyone that you send me. And that's basically what you do every month.
Kuno, how long does it take you to fill out an MRF?
Well, normally when I fill out the MRF, I'm compiling all the member hours too. Probably takes me 3 hours.
3 hours
Yeah.
per month.
Yeah.
Castle, how long does it take you?
if I do it like every time we have a project, then probably an hour just to check.
Just for
Like,
just
not-
for every time you have a project, it takes you an hour.
Oh no, like
Oh.
overall.
Overall. Oh, so it takes, if you just put it in when you have a project and then at the end before you submit, it takes about an hour for you to just double check it out. Okay. Any presidents know how long their secretary takes to kind of look over their MRF or fill out their MRF?
Yeah, our other vice president does the membership, the hours.
Oh,
So
okay.
we gotta kind of, yeah, we divided it up a little bit. And then we got a treasurer doing a lot of stuff
The
too.
fundraising side, right?
And he's just a lot, he's including the member,
Oh, okay.
the website.
Oh.
I don't know, ours is just kind of, everybody's doing a little bit of stuff.
Okay. Melanie, how long does it take your secretary to fill out MRFs?
Well, we have everything put it on an Excel spreadsheet that we save, so she pretty much just has to transfer it all into. It takes about an hour.
Melanie, how long does it take you?
I usually like just write everything down. So like I write the event, the number of hours, and the people, and I just compile it on paper. And so I can, when I go to this, I don't have to think about it. So I just like fill it in, and it takes me like 30 minutes. And even if you make a mistake on it, Kelly usually emails you back, and she tells you everything you have to change. So that makes my life a lot easier because I just go back, change it, and then when I email her back, I say, "Oh, Kelly, I changed this. Can you check this?" And then she just checks it. She emails me back. So it's like it's not too hard because she's helping you out.
Which is the other reason we send it to them, just so that they can look over it. When you submit September, it's not that September is final. Never is it final. You can actually go back in January and change to September. You realize that, oh my God, the Sandy Beach cleanup was with Sierra Club? That's a joint project. I'm gonna go back and join, and you had it all every month, you go back and you can change it all. And then just make sure that when you change it though, like Lonnie said, make sure you let the people know, oh, I did make some changes because we realized that the Sandy Beach cleanup is a joint project. Your point system automatically gets calculated for you. So it's not like you have to go, oh my God, how many points do I have? So on the bottom, it'll always have your points on the separate page. On the annual report, it has your score. Your score that you're trying to kind of hit for is about 120. That's what I try to get Kaiser to hit for. And that kind of gives you a nice kind of place to be. Yes?
What is the max?
What is the max? That's what I asked last time. I think the max is 200. I think. I've never seen anybody with a 200, but I think it's like, well, because I think you need to have a governor in your club, pretty much.
And you have like to have the international
Right.
people going.
Right. So it's really hard for, especially for us, to get the max 200. But I think if you get around 120, that's usually about a good place for you to be. Usually if you get around 120, it means you're running enough events. It means you're doing enough meetings. It means you have enough people coming to these meetings, whether it's the Kiwanis advisors, faculty advisors, or even other members from other clubs. You're running enough things with other clubs. So it's 120 is usually what we shoot for. We actually, I think, hit 120 last year, but we were just below the mark for the point system gets you awards, pretty much. So that point system, Iolani, you guys always get, right? Diamond? No? Not last year you guys
This
didn't
year
get.
on a good track.
You're on a good track this year. So, but last year,
The last 2 years we had.
but you guys were still just. What?
But this year,
Right. There's
It's 2 per year or per month?
well, the score is actually for the year.
Oh.
But every month your score will change. Because every time you enter something, your score is going to get affected. Yeah. One of the other things that we realized, one of the really major thing that kind of changes that really between 120 130 for us is guest speakers. If you don't do guest speakers, it's really hard for you to get up.
What kind of people speak though?
If you, I go back to the MRF, if you get any type of guest speaker in your meeting, all you're going to do is write a yes in there. So up top, right? Isn't there a guest speaker somewhere? Guest speaker, yes. No, in the MRF. Oh, come on.
Oh, yeah.
Scroll to the. There you go. Guest present, and then program speaker. If you can click on some yeses in there, that's actually gonna kind of help your score a lot, because that's usually where people don't have a lot of the guest speaker and then the guest present. But what kind of guest speakers can you have? Anybody. We have entertainment book, so we do that as a fundraiser. We have an entertainment book come in, give a quick 5-minute spiel to our membership. We had a guest speaker. We are helping out at one of our elementary schools' haunted houses. The principal just so happens to be our vice principal just so happens to be on the PTSA at that elementary school. He's actually our main contact. We're having him come in to talk to us about the haunted house, what we're going to be doing, that kind of stuff. Guest speaker. We're going to do bell ringing, Salvation Army. So when we went to the last DCM, we talked to Victor something or other, that guy who was the speaker there, and we told him, can you come in and speak to the actual school about bell ringing and what its benefits are and whatnot. Guest speaker. So the one thing is really we try to focus in on is the guest speaker. So that's a good kind of helps boost in 2 ways actually. It helps boost you to getting your score up, but more importantly, when students start to figure out what they're actually doing stuff for, that like they start showing up to all kinds of stuff just because they understand now. I'm not just ringing a bell and singing songs. I'm actually ringing a bell and singing songs so that people can actually eat and do all these different things. So, guest speakers actually help out a lot. But that's the MRF. Better? You still don't like the point system? I understand. It's okay.
I think it gives incentive to do the wrong thing.
Don't see it as an incentive. It's really not. It's just it's like getting a score on a test. Does it mean you learned or does it mean you didn't learn? Not really. You can learn and still get an F on a test, right? So it's kind of that score is just to kind of give people who don't know your club well kind of to see where you're at and where they might be able to help you and stuff like that. So that's really that score, and that's the purpose of it. Any questions about the MRFs? Yes.
Is a board meeting an officer meeting?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. So as long as you have officer meetings, it's considered a board meeting. Kaiser actually has an officer meeting every week. We have an officer meeting, and then we do it in the morning. So we yeah. Yeah, you can do it at lunch.
We have one every week with the members.
And yeah, we have a membership meeting.
Oh my god.
Every week. Yeah. During lunch. But it's just a quick, it doesn't have any time requirement for that meeting. Yeah, so our membership meeting, 15 minutes and you're done. Our officer meeting, half an hour and we're done. Pretty much. So that's kind of the 2 types of meetings that you have to. Right?
Oh my gosh, she just told me to come on.
Okay.
Double checking everything's good.
Yeah. We're good. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
You
No
good?
worries.
Jensen, Marissa's here.
Hey,
Everything good? Okay, yeah.
How are you? Good?
Comes in here and stands in the back of this. What the hell?
Yeah.
Any questions? All right, so that's the MRF. That's the membership update. I think that's about all that we use the computers for. I did hear some of you say you have Excel sheets, which is really good. I'm really happy that a lot of you have Excel sheets. It's actually something I want us to suggest at the next OA convention to actually run a training that helps clubs to make the Excel sheets. The reason Lonnie actually, one, she's organized, but we actually have a comprehensive Excel sheet. We do our attendance for all of our membership meetings are done on the Excel sheet, so it has a date, and as people walk in, we're just putting in X's. As we put in X's, counts it up right at the bottom. So it just sum up, count blank, and then it tells, and so Lonnie just needs to go to our attendance sheet. All of it is all there. It tells her how many people went to the event, how many people went to each meeting, how many hours. So I actually fill in, like today, we'll write 3 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours for all the people that came. It runs a total of their number of service hours, on the main roster sheet, so it takes that total, adds it up so that I see a running total of every member. So that Excel sheet actually is a really useful thing for any club. And I'm hoping that one of the things that we can do is look at it at Hawaii Convention. Somebody, hopefully, maybe you can run it, but having a couple of people maybe running an Excel sheet and how that can actually benefit a lot of us, filling out, especially our membership, our MRS.
Wait, how, for your guys' hours for GCMs, what do you guys put? Do you guys put like 3 hours? Or do you guys put that in as a service project for GCMs?
You guys consider this a service project?
Well, for the people that are in
Oh yeah.
the room, yeah. So, do you guys put that for you guys? Do you guys put it as a project?
Yes.
Yeah. So, like, how long do you guys put it for 3 hours or 2 hours?
Depends on how long
Yeah.
it takes, right?
Yeah, I guess for usually if the whole thing is gonna be 3, the service project part will be 2 hours. So let's make sure it's 2, not 3.
Today was 1.5.
Yeah. So yeah, because the meeting part itself is 1 hour. So
Yeah.
Which sometimes you can consider meetings service as well. So just kind of be careful on that too. Like for example, when she's actually speaking, you're not really doing anything, but she's speaking to us, and that can kind of be considered part of the service project. Yeah. So it's a really touchy subject on when you, especially since we start nitpicking on number of hours. Especially my big question to Masuhara one year was, if I have a kid who goes to convention, which is Friday afternoon all the way till Sunday morning, that's 48 hours, but I'm not going to write down 48 hours of service. So how much do you guys actually count? And so Masuhara actually said, even though the service project of convention is only 2, maybe 3 hours at most, we can still give them for the workshops that they go to. Even some of the different things, we're doing bake sales throughout the convention, so that could consider part of a service hours. So for the most part, she said 5 to 10 is probably about what you're writing in for convention, but different schools will do different things. So just kind of keep those things in mind too on when you're filling out these number of hours. It can get kind of tricky for the number of hours. So, be reasonable. That's basically the best way that we can go with is be reasonable. A lot of we try to go with whatever time we said it's going to start and whatever time we said it's going to end. That's the number of hours that we basically counted for. We do socials, so we don't really consider. Did we do this? No. We do socials. We write it down as an event, but it's not considered. It'll say 0 service hours. But we also keep track of club hours. So that's the other. Ours, we have a club hour line pretty much. So we have people who come for 12 hours of Key Club who did 7 hours of service. And so that we count for our meetings itself, that counts as half an hour of club time. It's not service hours, but we like to keep track of how many people are actually still coming to meetings and stuff too. So it's different things like that we kind of play with numbers a lot. I'm a math teacher, so I like to play with numbers a lot. We play with numbers a lot, so it's kind of tricky of that part too. Good questions. Any other questions? All right. If you have, yeah.
Scott,
Yeah.
you see that top section?
Yes.
That one? Okay, so the column on your right, the division region?
Yes.
Okay, I think when they have like RTC mark it on
Right.
for that particular month. So it's usually in August. So come September, we should not see anything there, correct? Or
On
I
September,
think-
right? RTC, it's for the month. That's why, right? We're filling it
Yeah.
out for the month. So did you go to RTC in this month? No, right? Did you go to DCM? Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a monthly thing. You won't be filling it out every month.
okay, so the following month it should be clean.
Following month it should
Okay.
say no. Correct. Right. There's a lot in here that you're gonna say, what does that mean? So, like for example, president and secretary at training conference.
Oh, this kind of.
Is that this? No, it's not this. Sorry.
Isn't it RTC?
It's an actual president and secretary. I think it's at whatever it's right above it. So at the officer training conference was president and secretary present. Yeah, so they don't really write all of that, president and secretary at officer training conference, but I think that it usually pertains to the one above. RTC, they don't have anything listed on below it, but if it did say president and secretary at training conference, then we would assume that it's at the region training conference. It's kind of a leadership conference retreat. 10 years I've been doing Keep Up, I don't know of any leadership conference retreat that we've ever done. I'm crossing my fingers that Kaiser's had it no every time for the last 10 years, but maybe we'll try and run one. We'll find out what it is and we'll try and do it.
The OTC you're talking, you mean?
No, it's a leadership conference retreat.
Oh, retreat. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there's officer training conference. There's that one up there. But then there's a leadership
I wonder
conference
if that
retreat.
pertains to key leader. You know, some clubs have
Yeah.
key leaders. That's what it is.
I think
Because Pearl Harbor has, right? Key leader.
they do.
Yeah,
They
they
do?
have a key leader.
Oh, good. Milani, do you fill out the?
We have a student leader reporter application
Oh
kind
yeah.
of thing. And then each month they choose one member from all 5 clubs. And then
Oh.
they recognize them at one of their meetings.
And that's where you consider your leadership conference retreat? Maybe.
Did your key leader go to the mainland for any of the training?
No, yeah. Actually, it's Key Leader is actually another organization that Kiwanis sponsors to do full leadership training for any student.
Oh,
Kind of like
okay.
leadership camp, but it's general. It's not just Key Club. It's more general.
Oh.
And that's mostly in the mainland. They invited us, but obviously it's a little difficult for Hawaii to attend.
We're
I
gonna have to
think
try and make one in
the only
Hawaii then.
people in Hawaii I think that could use that leadership conference retreat would probably be like the Big Island, because the East Hawaii Kiwanis actually has a leadership retreat where they have all their key clubs and SLPs come together and they do leadership training and club building and all that sort of thing. So I think, and then that's something that the Kiwanis clubs are suggested to do for their sponsored youth programs.
Okay.
But I don't know of any that on Oahu that really go out and do that.
Oh, okay.
I know the East Hawaii Club does do that. They have at KMC they have like a leadership thing with all their key
Like a
clubs.
camp.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, we'll have to try and run one of those in the next 10 years.
Trip
We'll have a yes.
OTC.
Yeah.
We're gonna be pitching tents because we can't afford it.
Yeah. Or we're gonna stay at a hotel and say this is our leadership camp. That would be cool too. But there's a lot of things on this MRF. So I think the main thing though, when you fill out your MRF, just make sure you have your meetings and your events. From there they'll tell you what kind of stuff you might want.
When we have like membership training, would that count as something like a banquet or would it count as like a social special meeting?
Membership training, would it count as a banquet?
Because there's not really a category for training that's for the club.
Okay. Lonnie's saying that membership training is down here.
No, but would you specify an hour or something, or is it just
Oh.
a yes or no?
On the actual event part,
Yeah.
I would write it down if it was an actual event. Even though you're writing yes on this membership training part, I would probably write a yes as filling out the event and writing how much time you actually did that training part of it. Training, I like to consider training a service, that's why. You may not be serving too many people, but you are kind of helping yourself, right? And so that kind of training, I like to think of as is a service. You need to be trained before you can serve sometimes. That's kind of how it works. Yeah.
For the chairs, for the project snapshots, if you're working with another club on your campus or something, do you put the club that you're working with, because they're in charge of it, or
You would want to write somebody that's in your club.
that was the point person?
Point person. Yeah. They may not be in charge of the overall event. Like for example, Ray isn't in charge of Sandy Beach cleanup, but she's our contact from Kaiser Key Club that is gonna work with whoever the Sierra Club as the Sandy Beach cleanup. Just like actually this person here, this Sabrina Young, she's not even an officer in our club. She's actually a member in our club. But for her project, one of her projects, she wanted to do this Operation Christmas Child. So we said, all right, good, we'll do it, and you are in charge of it. So fill out the forms for it, make it happen, figure out what day we're coming in, and she recruited, so she became the chair for that.
What about like Children and Youth Day? What would you put?
Children and Youth Day, same thing. Whoever your lead person from your club is that was working with. And that's where it gets kind of tricky. If it's just a sheet that people are just signing up on, hopefully you have somebody that's still going to hold accountable to that sheet showing up, or those people needing somebody to contact to getting to wherever they need to be and where do they need to go. So you still want to make sure you have someone from your club that's a chair. Yeah. Good. How many vice presidents do you guys have? Two? 5? 1? 1? Really? You guys have 3? 1? You guys have 1, only 2? How many vice presidents? 2? 2? You guys only have 2? Wow.
How many you guys have?
We have 4. But we made 4 for a couple of reasons. We actually made 4. Well, one, we wanted to build capacity. We were having a hard time filling president spots, so we wanted to build capacity. The second one, though, with this new requirement of 5 events, we were like, all right, president got 1, and the other 4 vice presidents got 1, so it works out kind of well. And then we split it up. The other thing we found out in doing our scrapbooks, so there's contests. You guys all know about contests during convention. That Jensen knows all of you are going to apply for contest-wise, because Jensen doesn't want to go there and Oahu doesn't win too much stuff. So we're going to all apply for contests, and one of the scrapbook requirements is you meet all these different, not requirements, but the scrapbook falls into different categories. And so service to school, service to community, Kiwanis projects, miscellaneous, fundraisers. 5. I'm pretty sure it's the 5. No, there must be 6, because fundraisers falls under a treasurer. Miscellaneous, school, community, Kiwanis, and something else. Oh, let's think about it. Member? No. Well, that's the miscellaneous. Maybe it is fundraising, but we decided at that time that we're going to have more vice presidents, so that each vice president takes care of one of those things. The hard part is the Key Club actually doesn't have vice president of, well, they have of community service, they have of membership, which we didn't decide to do. So we actually have ours split up where it's vice president of school services, vice president of community services, vice president of Kiwanis projects, and then a vice president of members. Major emphasis. That was the other one that I wanted us to get on there. So we have those 4, and so each of the vice presidents take care of an event that's in whatever their category is. So, like for example, Children and Youth Day. Marissa Cole is our Kiwanis project vice president, so she actually was our chair for Children and Youth Day. So, different things like that we kind of use our vice
secretary does your hours.
Our secretary does, well, she does the MRFs. She does the MRFs, and actually I do the hours. So I actually, after every weekend, usually Monday morning, I sit at the computer and I type in all the hours. And so that's what I do. I know it's not something that all faculty are. It's not anything any faculty advisor, including myself, wants to do, but I take care of the hours part of it. Yeah.
Why don't you guys just put the information directly onto your,
MRF.
what is it called? The club report.
The MRF.
Yeah.
Because the Excel sheet that I actually use is way more comprehensive than this. So, because they don't actually ask for each individual name of who was there. So, mine has a list of every name, every meeting that they show up to, every community service event that they show up to, and then has their total, and it goes back to their roster. My roster has their last name, first name, email, telephone number, birth date, just for fun, shirt size, because we do shirts. So our roster list is big, and then I have an officer name next to every name on my roster, and that officer is in charge of kind of communications to those people too. Yeah. So each officer has about 15 to 20 that they take care of. So yeah. So Excel sheet. If you want it, just let me know. I'll email you a copy of our Excel sheet. Any other questions? Good. You guys are all experts. I hope you guys know that. We're not up here because we're the experts. We're up here because we're the dumb ones who said we would be willing to teach. One day, one of you guys let your freshman and sophomore know we're going to come to your school and we're going to have you guys train us. But we're no experts. You guys are all helping each other out. So by all means, if you have questions, make sure you just shoot Jensen an email. Jensen might not know the answer, which is fine, and he'll make sure he gets you the answer. So that's the best part about it. He'll shoot an email to somebody else, or he'll shoot an email to Masahara or even Kelly, and then we'll find out the answers. Just make sure you guys do ask. It's important to ask. The contest and award, the contest is going to come up before you know it. So they're already telling us when Hawaii Convention is. So I know that contest and awards is going to come up in December, January time. So hopefully we all start applying for those too.
Where do we find the forms now?
We're waiting for Hawaii Convention registration to come out, because I think when that registration comes out, that'll tell us where to get the forms. I don't think the website is up to date yet.
No, I think they were projecting to hopefully get the forms out the first week or so of November.
Yeah. So I think they're working on this membership update center site first. That was their first priority. You can actually go on keyclub.org and you can start to look at a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, because I tried to search on the CNH cyber key and it's not there anymore.
Yeah, the keyclub.org has in their, I want to call it the bylaws, I think it's the bylaws, which is like a 60-page thing.
Yeah.
It had, I went and printed out the 60-page thing just for fun. And then it has all the different components of the contest that they have. So, you can actually look on there. So hopefully we all can start applying for some contest. Oahu, that's right. We're gonna crush everybody else. That was Shay's plan last year. She didn't make it happen too much. Jensen's the man. That's why we're gonna follow Jensen on it. Just gonna get it done. That's the plan. Yes. All right. If you have no other questions, I think we're just about done.